Have you ever stopped to think that maybe the real weight you carry isn't caused by what others do, but by what you allow? It's common to believe that the key to happiness lies in doing more and trying harder. But what if I told you that true liberation actually comes from doing less? It's not about accumulating more achievements or trying to please everyone around you. On the contrary, it's about eliminating invisible burdens that you carry every day without realizing it. These silent weights drain your energy, cloud your inner peace, and keep you stuck in a cycle of frustration and discontent. And the best part, you can start freeing yourself from them right now with simple yet powerful decisions that will transform your life in ways you never imagined possible. Get ready to break the bad cycle and discover a new way of living, light, authentic, and truly fulfilling. Topic 1. Opening your heart to those who cause you pain. The modern Stoic knows that on our life journey, it's not uncommon to encounter people who, consciously or unconsciously, hurt us. But instead of giving in to the desire for revenge or harboring corrosive grudges, Stoic philosophy teaches us to open our hearts and move on. This doesn't mean ignoring the pain or allowing abuse, but rather protecting our inner peace. The discipline of a Stoic involves the wisdom to step away from others' drama while preserving your own serenity. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, it's not things that affect us, but how we react to them. When it comes to human interactions, Stoicism guides us to act with equanimity. Imagine someone close to you does something that deeply hurts you. The natural reaction might be to confront this person or, worse, try to hurt them back. However, Stoics understand that these reactions only perpetuate the cycle of pain and suffering. A true disciple of Stoic philosophy chooses the harder but infinitely more rewarding path. They let go of resentment and decide that their peace is worth more than a hollow victory in an argument. There are many ways to apply this teaching in practical life. For example, when a friend or colleague says something that offends you, instead of responding with harsh words, consider taking a deep breath and reflecting on what was said. It could be that the comment has more to do with that person's internal problems than with you. Understanding this helps you see the world from a new perspective, one where your tranquility doesn't depend on others' actions. A practical example would be writing about the situation in a journal, allowing the feelings to be processed without causing further conflict. Another aspect of this approach is creating space between you and those who bring pain into your life. This is not an act of cowardice, but rather a demonstration of strength. Distancing yourself doesn't mean abruptly cutting ties, but rather understanding where and how you want to invest your energy. A modern Stoic recognizes that some battles aren't worth fighting and that silence is often the most powerful response. By focusing on personal development, Stoics turn these experiences into valuable lessons that strengthen character and discipline. Moreover, opening your heart to those who hurt you also involves practicing forgiveness, not necessarily for the other person's benefit, but to release the weight that resentment places on your shoulders. Forgiveness is a powerful tool for personal liberation, aligned with the teachings of Stoic philosophy. When you choose to forgive, you're not absolving the other person of their responsibilities, but choosing not to let their actions continue to harm you. It's an act of self-compassion and wisdom. Finally, it's important to remember that personal development is not a destination, but a continuous journey. The Stoics teach us that true growth comes from facing challenges with courage and learning to turn adversity into strength. By opening your heart to those who hurt you, you not only preserve your inner peace, but also advance on the path of self-knowledge and resilience. Ultimately, the true victory is not over others, but over oneself. Thus, Stoic philosophy challenges us to reconsider our reactions to the pain inflicted by others. This is just the beginning of a path filled with wisdom and growth. As we continue exploring the lessons of the Stoics, we'll realize that life constantly presents us with opportunities to apply these teachings, shaping our character and making us better people. And as we delve deeper into the other burdens we carry, we'll discover how Stoic philosophy can guide us every step of the way. Topic 2. Stay away from gossip. In a world where words circulate at an impressive speed, staying away from gossip has become a true art. Stoic philosophy, with its timeless wisdom, advises us to be vigilant about what we say and what we allow ourselves to hear. The modern Stoic understands that gossip is not just a waste of time, but also a poison that corrupts integrity and peace of mind. Discipline is what keeps us away from this harmful habit, which can easily tarnish the character of anyone who participates, whether as a speaker or a listener. Stoic philosophy teaches us that our words have power, and using them carelessly can have serious consequences for both ourselves and others. Gossiping is a behavior that diminishes trust and destroys relationships, creating an environment of distrust and negativity. The modern Stoic, aware of these pitfalls, chooses their words carefully, avoiding any speech that could harm or dishonor others. This type of self-control is a form of personal development that over time strengthens our reputation and relationships. To avoid gossip, it's important to practice empathy and try to understand the motivations behind people's actions. When someone tries to involve you in a conversation full of criticism or judgments about another person, the best course of action is to redirect the dialogue to a more constructive topic. Ask yourself, how does this conversation contribute to my growth or the development of those around me? If the answer is negative, it's a sign that this discussion doesn't deserve your time or energy. Remember, Stoicism values virtue and the common good, and gossip goes against these principles. Moreover, staying away from gossip also involves making conscious choices about the company you keep. It's easy to be drawn into the whirlwind of negative conversations when surrounded by people who have this habit. Therefore, surround yourself with individuals who value mutual respect and personal growth. A practical example is creating a work or friendship environment where the topics discussed are always geared towards building something positive, like exchanging ideas about books, projects, or personal development. This is the type of environment a modern Stoic seeks to cultivate. Another crucial aspect of avoiding gossip is focusing on what really matters. When we're busy with our own goals and projects, we have less time and inclination to get involved in empty conversations. Stoic discipline teaches us to concentrate our energies on activities that help us become better people, whether at work, in studies, or in relationships. When you're committed to your own growth, the interest in gossip naturally diminishes as you understand that it's a distraction that pulls you away from your goals. The Stoic also recognizes that we are all fallible and that judging others, especially behind their backs, is a dangerous trap. It's a practice that feeds the ego but brings no real benefit. Instead of engaging in gossip, Stoics prefer to practice compassion and forgiveness, recognizing that everyone has their own internal battles and that it's better to offer help than criticism. This type of attitude strengthens bonds of trust and creates an environment where everyone feels safe to be who they really are. Therefore, by distancing yourself from gossip, you're not only protecting your own inner peace, but also contributing to a more integral and respectful world. Personal development, as Stoicism teaches us, involves daily and conscious choices, and avoiding gossip is one of those choices that have a lasting impact on our lives and the lives of those around us. And as we continue to explore the other burdens we carry, we'll see that this journey of self-discovery and discipline is full of transformative insights. Topic 3. Non-essential goals. Stoicism teaches us that life is short and time is our most precious resource. Therefore, it's crucial to distinguish between goals that truly matter and those that only distract us. Often, we find ourselves stuck with goals that over time no longer align with our values or life purpose. The modern Stoic understands that to become a better person and achieve personal development, it's necessary to have the courage to abandon these non-essential goals. By doing so, we free up energy and focus for what truly makes a difference in our journey. In our society, there's constant pressure to always strive for more success, more recognition, more achievements. However, Stoicism reminds us that not all goals are worthy of our effort. If something doesn't contribute to our well-being or the common good, it may be time to reconsider its importance. For example, if you've set a goal to achieve a leadership position in your company, but realize that this objective has cost you your peace and health, it may be time to rethink whether this is really what you want. Stoic philosophy encourages us to be honest with ourselves and to adjust our goals when necessary. A practical example of this can be seen in people who have dedicated years of their lives to careers that no longer bring them satisfaction. They may continue down this path out of fear of disappointing others or not wanting to appear as failures. But according to Stoic philosophy, this is a dangerous trap. Persisting in something that no longer resonates with who you are can lead to burnout and unhappiness. The modern Stoic, on the other hand, understands that true strength lies in knowing when to quit. Not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. This is an act of discipline and courage. Another important point is that non-essential goals can distract us from the real priorities in life. Often, we pursue goals that, while seemingly important, have no significant impact on our long-term well-being. This can include things like accumulating material goods, seeking popularity, or trying to fit into external standards. An example would be spending years saving up to buy a luxury car, only to realize that the satisfaction from this purchase is fleeting. The Stoic knows that true happiness comes from living in accordance with your principles, not from achieving goals that society imposes. Maintaining discretion about your goals is also a valuable practice. Sharing your intentions too much with others can attract unnecessary criticism and expectations, which can distract your focus. The Stoic prefers to act in silence, letting their results speak for themselves. This not only preserves your energy, but also protects you from external influences that could undermine your determination. By staying focused on the goals that truly matter and moving away from non-essential ones, you place yourself on the path of true personal development. Stoic philosophy teaches us that it's better to have a few meaningful goals than many insubstantial ones. Instead of trying to do everything, focus on what truly matters and will bring lasting value to your life. It may be time to review your to-do lists and identify which items are there out of habit or external pressure. Eliminating these objectives can be liberating and allow you to dedicate more time and energy to what really counts. By abandoning non-essential goals, you're not giving up, but choosing to focus on what truly matters. This is an essential step on the path of Stoicism and personal development. As we continue this journey of self-discovery, we'll see how other burdens can be eliminated so that we can live a fuller life aligned with our true values. Topic 4. Stop oversharing your life. In an era where private life has become a public spectacle, the modern Stoic learns to value discretion as an essential virtue. Oversharing your life, especially during vulnerable moments, can open doors to criticism, misunderstandings, and even gossip. Stoic philosophy teaches us that there is wisdom in keeping certain things to ourselves, as this protects our inner peace and avoids unnecessary drama. Being discreet doesn't mean being distant, but rather being selective about what and with whom we share. Often the need to share every detail of our lives comes from a search for external validation. We want to be understood, supported, or simply recognized. However, the Stoics remind us that true strength comes from within, and that we don't need to expose our vulnerabilities to be validated. Instead of sharing your problems with the world, consider the Stoic practice of reflecting in silence or seeking advice only from those you know have wisdom to offer. This not only preserves your energy, but also prevents your issues from being amplified by others' opinions. After the end of a relationship, for example, it may be tempting to divulge details to friends, social media, or even co-workers. But the Stoic knows that in moments of pain, silence is a powerful ally. Processing emotions privately allows for deeper healing and prevents your words from being used against you in the future. A practical example would be keeping a personal journal where you can express your feelings without worrying about being judged. This habit, in addition to being therapeutic, is also a way to practice Stoic discipline. Moreover, oversharing can create an expectation that others should act or respond in a certain way, which rarely happens as we hope. This can lead to unnecessary frustrations and even the weakening of relationships. When you limit what you share, you protect yourself from these disappointments and maintain control over your narrative. The modern Stoic understands that the less others know about your personal challenges, the less power they have over your emotional life. Another important point is that overexposure can undermine your personal development. By sharing your goals and plans with many people, you may end up dispersing your energy in discussions or suggestions that aren't really helpful. Instead of seeking approval or advice from many, the Stoic prefers to focus on their goals with the serenity that comes from working in silence. This allows you to advance on your own terms without the pressure of meeting others' expectations. Stoic philosophy also teaches us that not all opinions need to be heard. When you overshare, you open up space for others to influence your journey in ways that may not be beneficial. By cultivating discretion, you protect yourself from this interference and strengthen your ability to make decisions aligned with your own values. Life doesn't need to be an open book to be authentic. In fact, Stoics believe that it's in silent reflection that we find our true essence. Therefore, learning the art of discretion is an essential step on the path of Stoicism. By reducing what we share with others, we not only preserve our inner peace, but also build an emotional fortress that helps us navigate adversity with greater resilience. As we continue exploring the burdens we carry, we'll see how this practice can be applied in other areas of life, helping us live more fully and consciously. Topic 5. Raising your voice in front of others during moments of frustration or anger. In moments of frustration or anger, the tendency to raise our voices is almost instinctive. However, Stoicism teaches us that true power doesn't lie in the force of words, but in the inner calm we maintain in the face of adversity. The modern Stoic understands that by raising their voice, they lose the opportunity to demonstrate emotional control and discipline, key characteristics for anyone seeking personal development. Instead, Stoic philosophy encourages us to take a deep breath, reflect, and respond thoughtfully, regardless of the provocation. Raising your voice may seem like a way to gain authority or express displeasure, but in practice, this rarely results in productive solutions. By losing control and getting loud, you risk tarnishing your reputation and compromising your relationships. A practical example is when a colleague does something at work that deeply irritates you. Instead of raising your voice and reacting impulsively, the modern Stoic would choose the approach of a calm dialogue, where words are chosen carefully to avoid causing harm or escalating the situation. This not only preserves harmony in the environment, but also demonstrates emotional maturity. Another valuable lesson from Stoicism is that controlling your anger is a sign of inner strength. By staying calm when everything around you is chaotic, you inspire respect and confidence. Imagine a family situation where tempers flare during a discussion. Instead of joining in the shouting, the Stoic opts to listen carefully, speaking firmly but without losing their composure. This approach not only diffuses the tension, but also shows that you are in control, not just of the situation, but of yourself. The Stoics remind us that words spoken in anger can rarely be taken back. Once said, they leave marks that can take time to heal. Therefore, it's essential to practice the art of pausing before responding in tense moments. A practical example would be developing the habit of counting to 10 before reacting to an insult or provocation. This brief pause can be enough to turn an impulsive reaction into a thoughtful and constructive response, aligned with the principles of Stoic philosophy. Additionally, raising your voice in public can create a negative image that may extend beyond the moment in question. People who frequently raise their voices in situations of frustration or anger are often seen as unbalanced or immature. The modern Stoic, aware of this, prefers to maintain composure, knowing that their image and reputation are built not only by what they do, but also by how they react to life's challenges. Thus, self-control is not just a personal practice, but also a long-term strategy for building respect and trust among those around you. Staying calm in moments of frustration also offers the opportunity to reflect on the underlying causes of the conflict. Often, instead of reacting immediately, it's wiser to question yourself. Why does this upset me so much? Stoic philosophy encourages us to explore these questions internally before manifesting our dissatisfaction externally. This not only helps avoid unnecessary conflicts, but also promotes self-knowledge and personal growth, central elements in the development of a modern Stoic. Therefore, by avoiding raising your voice in moments of frustration or anger, the Stoic not only preserves their inner peace, but also builds a resilient and admirable character. The continuous practice of this self-control becomes a powerful tool for facing challenges with wisdom and tranquility. As we continue exploring the burdens we carry, we'll see how emotional control can guide us in other areas of life, helping us live more fully and consciously. Topic 6. Spreading negative comments about others. Spreading negative comments about others is a habit that Stoics consider highly detrimental, both for the speaker and for the target of the criticism. The modern Stoic understands that by spreading negative words, they not only harm another's reputation, but also compromise their own integrity. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true strength lies in choosing silence or offering words that build rather than destroy. Discipline is essential to resist the temptation to criticize, especially in situations where the urge to do so is strongest. When people spread criticism or gossip, they are often seeking validation or trying to feel superior to others. However, the Stoic understands that this behavior is a sign of internal weakness, not strength. If someone, for example, does something you disapprove of, the Stoic way would be to address that person directly and privately, offering constructive advice instead of spreading their faults to third parties. This not only promotes an environment of trust and respect, but also strengthens interpersonal bonds. Stoic philosophy values empathy and understanding. Before judging or criticizing, the modern Stoic puts themselves in the other person's shoes and tries to understand the motivations behind their actions. Instead of quickly condemning, they ponder the circumstances that led that person to act a certain way. This type of reflection often reveals that the criticism is unfounded or that the situation is more complex than it seems. Therefore, by practicing Stoicism, one avoids making hasty judgments and chooses understanding, a trait that elevates character and improves social coexistence. Spreading negative comments can also easily spiral out of control, creating misunderstandings and conflicts that extend beyond the initial situation. A practical example would be in the workplace, where criticism of a colleague's performance, if made publicly or behind their back, can cause resentment and divisions within the team. The Stoic, on the other hand, opts to keep these discussions private and direct, addressing the issue with the person in question and seeking solutions that benefit everyone involved. This not only resolves the problem more effectively, but also builds a culture of mutual respect. Another important aspect is that negative criticism directly affects the one who makes it, as it reflects a negative and bitter state of mind. The modern Stoic is aware that internalized negativity manifests externally, so they strive to cultivate positive thoughts and words that reflect wisdom and compassion. When you refrain from spreading negative comments, you're actually protecting your own mind from the corrosion caused by negativity. It's a practice of self-development that promotes inner peace and improves the quality of life. By choosing not to spread negative comments, the Stoic also becomes a role model for others. They demonstrate that it's possible to resolve conflicts and express discontent without resorting to destroying others. This example can inspire those around them to adopt a more positive and constructive approach in their interactions, creating a cycle of mutual respect and growth. This is part of the personal development that Stoicism promotes. Being a light in a world often overshadowed by criticism and judgment. Therefore, by avoiding the spread of negative comments about others, the modern Stoic not only preserves their own integrity, but also contributes to a more harmonious and productive environment. This conscious choice reflects the Stoic wisdom that words have power, and this power should be used to build, not to destroy. As we continue exploring the burdens we carry, we'll discover how this practice of empathy and self-control can transform our lives in profound and lasting ways. Topic 7. Freeing yourself from constant comparison with others. Constantly comparing yourself to others is one of the greatest obstacles to personal development, according to Stoic philosophy. The modern Stoic knows that each person has their own journey, with unique challenges and achievements, and that trying to measure your worth by others' success or failure is a surefire recipe for dissatisfaction. Stoic discipline teaches us to focus on our own progress, celebrating the small victories that shape our character, instead of getting lost in comparisons that are ultimately irrelevant to our true growth. Today's society, with its social media and displays of seemingly perfect lives, has made comparison even more common and corrosive. However, the Stoic understands that what we see is only a fraction of reality, often idealized. A practical example of this is when you compare yourself to someone who seems to have a more successful career or a more glamorous life. Stoicism invites us to remember that appearances can be deceiving and that everyone faces invisible battles. Instead of being shaken by these superficial images, the Stoic focuses on their own development, valuing what truly matters, their actions, virtues, and values. Freeing yourself from comparison also means recognizing that a person's worth isn't determined by what they possess or achieve, but by who they are. A modern Stoic understands that character is built by the choices we make, not by what we achieve in material or social terms. So instead of worrying about what others have, they choose to focus on being a better person every day. A practical example would be reevaluating your goals and priorities, asking yourself if they're truly yours or if they've been influenced by the desire to match others. Moreover, constant comparison can lead to envy, a feeling that Stoicism considers destructive. Envy corrodes the soul and distances us from true inner peace. When we free ourselves from the need to compare, we make room for gratitude for what we have and who we are. This shift in perspective is fundamental to personal development. A practical exercise is keeping a gratitude journal where at the end of each day you write about the things you're grateful for. This simple habit helps redirect focus from what's lacking to what has already been achieved, strengthening internal satisfaction. Stoicism also teaches us that comparison is often unfair because it doesn't take into account the full context. Two people may seem to be at the same starting point, but their journeys, circumstances, and challenges are completely different. By recognizing this, the modern Stoic avoids the trap of measuring themselves by others' standards, understanding that the only valid comparison is with oneself. If you're better today than you were yesterday, then you're on the right path. This is the true meaning of personal development. Another important point is that by freeing yourself from comparison, you start to value individual differences. Each person has something unique to offer, and the world is richer precisely because of these differences. Instead of seeing others as competitors, the modern Stoic sees each individual as part of a larger tapestry where everyone has an important role to play. This not only lessens the burden of comparison, but also increases respect and admiration for the diverse journeys people undertake. Therefore, by letting go of constant comparison with others, you not only free your mind from an unnecessary burden, but also open the door to a more fulfilling and authentic life. Stoicism shows us that the true measure of success is internal, and that personal development is a continuous journey where the focus should be on our own growth, not on what others are doing. As we continue exploring the burdens we carry, we'll see how this liberation can lead us to a life of greater serenity and contentment. Topic 8. Uncontrolled social media abuse. Uncontrolled social media abuse is a modern phenomenon that Stoicism, despite its antiquity, addresses in a surprisingly relevant way. The modern Stoic understands that although social media can be useful tools for connection and learning, excessive use can steer us away from the path of personal development. When it becomes a compulsive habit, social media ends up taking us away from the present moment and immersing us in empty comparisons, unrealistic expectations, and a constant desire for external validation. Stoicism teaches us to exercise discipline in using these platforms, maintaining control over our time and focus. We often spend hours on social media without realizing it, jumping from one post to another, consuming content indiscriminately. This behavior may seem harmless, but the modern Stoic knows that it's actually an escape from reality. By engaging too much in the virtual world, we neglect what's around us, our relationships, our work, and even our inner peace. A practical example to combat this is setting clear limits on the time spent on social media. Turning off notifications or setting specific times to check social media can help you regain control over your time, focusing on what truly matters. Additionally, social media often involves us in relentless and harmful comparisons. We see others' lives through filters that show only the positive and often idealized side. This can lead to a sense that our own life is less interesting or successful. The modern Stoic, however, understands that this comparison is illusory. They practice gratitude for what they have and know that social media is a partial and often distorted representation of reality. A helpful exercise might be taking periodic breaks from social media, allowing the mind to detox from this constant comparison. Another important aspect is that excessive use of social media can affect our ability to be fully present in our lives. Stoic philosophy values the here and now, and being constantly immersed in the digital world keeps us away from this essential practice. When we get lost in our devices, we miss out on the beauties and opportunities right in front of us. The modern Stoic, therefore, chooses to be present, interacting consciously with the people and environment around them. For example, during a meal or a conversation with friends, the practice of turning off the phone and focusing on the interaction can make a significant difference in the quality of these experiences. Social media can also be a source of stress, feeding the need to be constantly updated and engaged. The Stoic knows that this pressure to always be connected is an illusion that drains our mental and emotional energy. Instead of giving in to this pressure, they choose to use social media intentionally and consciously. This might include following profiles that promote personal development, philosophy, or other content that truly adds value instead of just entertaining. In this way, social media use becomes an extension of personal growth rather than a distraction. Stoic philosophy reminds us that control over our actions is essential for a balanced life. In the context of social media, this means being aware of its impact on our emotional and mental well-being. The modern Stoic understands that time is a limited resource and therefore should be spent wisely. Avoiding uncontrolled social media abuse is therefore a practice of self-control and discipline that reflects a commitment to personal development. Thus, by controlling social media use, the Stoic not only protects their inner peace, but also reaffirms their focus on what truly matters in life. This control is an important step in the Stoic journey of living a full and meaningful life, free from distractions that pull us away from our true goals. As we continue exploring the burdens we carry, we'll see how this practice can lead us to a state of greater serenity and fulfillment. Topic 9. Need for external approval. The need for external approval is one of the most subtle yet heaviest burdens we carry. However, Stoicism teaches us that seeking validation from others is a sure path to dissatisfaction and the loss of our true essence. The modern Stoic knows that true strength and inner peace come from within, and that living according to one's values, not others' expectations, is what defines a successful life. By abandoning the constant search for external approval, they free themselves to become a better person, focused on their own personal development. We often act or refrain from acting out of fear of others' judgment. This dependence on others' opinions can distance us from who we really are and prevent us from making decisions that align with our values. Stoic philosophy, however, encourages us to reflect on what truly matters to us and to act in accordance with these convictions, regardless of what others may think. A practical example would be in career choices, where it's easy to follow a path just because it's socially accepted or because it pleases others. The Stoic, however, chooses what resonates with their soul, knowing that external approval is fleeting, while internal satisfaction is lasting. Another important aspect is that the need for approval can lead to constant anxiety and stress, as we're always worried about meeting others' expectations. The modern Stoic, on the contrary, seeks approval from only one source: themselves. By cultivating self-discipline and self-knowledge, they become their own judge, evaluating their actions based on their principles, not others' opinions. A practical exercise to develop this autonomy is daily meditation on your actions, reflecting on whether they align with your values instead of worrying about what others think. External approval can also trap us in cycles of behavior that aren't authentic. When we do something just to please others, we lose our individuality and end up molding ourselves to standards that may not reflect who we really are. The Stoic, aware of this, chooses authenticity over acceptance. They know that being true to oneself is the foundation of a full and meaningful life. A practical example of this is in relationships, where instead of changing who you are to please your partner, you remain true to your values, knowing that healthy relationships are based on mutual acceptance and respect. Stoic philosophy also teaches us that the search for external approval is ultimately a search for control over the uncontrollable. We cannot control what others think or feel, and trying to do so is a guaranteed source of frustration. Instead of wasting energy trying to please everyone, the modern Stoic chooses to focus on what they can control, their own actions and reactions. By doing so, they find a freedom unknown to those still trapped in the need for others' approval. Moreover, Stoic philosophy suggests that the true approval that really matters comes from one's own moral progress and fulfillment of duty. When we act in accordance with our principles, it doesn't matter whether others approve of us or not, because we already know internally that we are on the right path. This sense of purpose and direction gives the modern Stoic the strength to keep going, even when facing criticism or misunderstandings with others. Finally, freeing oneself from the need for external approval is one of the greatest achievements on the path to personal development. This doesn't mean completely ignoring others' opinions, but rather giving them the appropriate weight without allowing them to determine your self-esteem or life direction. By doing so, you become the author of your own story, living according to your values and convictions. As we continue exploring the burdens we carry, we'll see how this autonomy can lead us to a more authentic and fulfilling life. Topic 10. Excessive pursuit of perfectionism. Perfectionism, at first glance, may seem like a virtue, but Stoicism shows us that it's actually a burden that prevents us from living fully. The relentless pursuit of doing everything impeccably, without mistakes, can lead us to a constant state of frustration and dissatisfaction. The modern Stoic understands that perfection is an illusion and that the true measure of success lies in genuine effort and the learning that comes from failures. Stoic philosophy encourages us to accept our imperfections and see mistakes as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles. Perfectionism can paralyze us, causing us to procrastinate or avoid making decisions out of fear of failure. Stoic philosophy, however, teaches us that it's better to act imperfectly than not to act at all. The modern Stoic knows that life is a continuous learning process and that every attempt, even if not perfect, brings us closer to our best self. A practical example would be in creative or professional projects, where the anxiety of not achieving perfection can prevent us from completing tasks. Instead of fixating on perfection, the Stoic chooses to focus on progression, advancing one step at a time. Furthermore, perfectionism makes us ignore the fact that reality is fluid and full of uncontrollable variables. Stoic philosophy reminds us that we can't control everything, and in many cases, what we see as imperfection may simply be the nature of the universe at work. Accepting this uncertainty is an act of wisdom. The modern Stoic, therefore, learns to adapt and flow with situations instead of trying to rigidly shape them to fit an idealized standard. A useful exercise might be practicing self-compassion, recognizing that the pursuit of becoming a better person doesn't require perfection, but rather effort and perseverance. Another aspect of perfectionism is that it can distance us from others. When we are excessively critical of ourselves, we tend to be critical of others as well, which can damage our relationships. The Stoic, however, seeks understanding and empathy, both for themselves and others. They understand that we are all on a growth path and that mistakes are part of this process. By relaxing their expectations of themselves, the Stoic also becomes more understanding and patient with others' mistakes, promoting healthier and more harmonious relationships. The pursuit of perfectionism can also lead us to a life of constant dissatisfaction, as there will always be something that doesn't completely meet our expectations. Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on what really matters and to find contentment in the simple things and daily progress. By cultivating gratitude for what has already been achieved, the Stoic frees themselves from the constant pressure to achieve more and more, recognizing that life is made up of imperfect but valuable moments. Stoic discipline also involves accepting that mistakes are a natural part of growth. Every failure offers a lesson, an opportunity to learn and improve. The modern Stoic, instead of punishing themselves for not being perfect, embraces their failures as an essential part of their personal development journey. A practical example would be daily reflection on the mistakes made and what can be learned from them without judgment, but with the desire to become a better version of oneself each day. Therefore, by abandoning the excessive pursuit of perfectionism, the Stoic finds a peace that is not based on the absence of mistakes, but on accepting them as a natural part of life. This not only relieves internal pressure, but also opens up space for a more authentic life where the focus is on continuous progress and appreciating what is, instead of an endless struggle for what should be. As we continue exploring the burdens we carry, We'll see how this acceptance of imperfections can guide us to a lighter and more fulfilled life. Topic 11. Maintaining unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations are one of the most common and burdensome weights we carry throughout life. Stoicism teaches us that these expectations often arise from illusions about what we can control or about the nature of circumstances and the people around us. The modern Stoic understands that disillusionment and suffering often arise not from events themselves, but from the discrepancy between our expectations and reality. By adjusting these expectations to be realistic, they not only preserve their inner peace, but also become more resilient in the face of life's inevitable adversities. When we maintain unrealistic expectations, we end up creating a cycle of frustration. We expect people to act according to our desires, for situations to unfold as planned, and for our goals to be achieved without major obstacles. However, Stoic philosophy reminds us that life is full of unpredictability, and that the only things we can truly control are our own actions and reactions. A practical example would be when planning a project or a trip. The Stoic prepares for the best, but is always ready to accept whatever comes, adapting as necessary without clinging to a single outcome. Furthermore, unrealistic expectations often lead to disappointment in interpersonal relationships. Expecting others to behave perfectly or to meet our needs without fail is a recipe for resentment. The modern Stoic, instead of projecting their expectations onto others, chooses to accept them as they are, with their virtues and flaws. They understand that everyone is fighting their own battles and that no one is infallible. By lowering their expectations, they not only avoid disappointment, but also cultivate healthier and more compassionate relationships. Stoic philosophy also encourages us to maintain realistic expectations about ourselves. Many of us fall into the trap of setting grand goals without considering the challenges and limitations we'll face along the way. This can lead to excessive self-criticism and burnout. The Stoic, however, recognizes that progress is made in small steps and that failure is part of the growth process. Instead of blaming themselves for not reaching an unrealistic goal, they adjust their expectations and celebrate the achievements made, no matter how small. Another crucial aspect is that unrealistic expectations can prevent us from appreciating the present. When we are constantly focused on an idealized future, we fail to value what we have now. Stoicism teaches us to find contentment in the present, appreciating the small things and accepting life as it is. A practical exercise is meditation on impermanence, where you reflect on the fact that everything in life is temporary. This helps us see the beauty in the present moment instead of being stuck on expectations that may never materialize. Moreover, by maintaining realistic expectations, the Stoic protects themselves from the trap of perfectionism. They know that nothing in life is perfect, and trying to achieve idealized perfection only brings frustration and anxiety. By accepting imperfection as a natural part of life, the Stoic finds peace and satisfaction in their continuous progress without the pressure of meeting unattainable standards. This recognition of human limitations is a form of wisdom that frees us from the weight of unrealistic expectations. Therefore, adjusting our expectations is an essential step on the path to a fuller and more peaceful life. Stoicism shows us that by accepting reality as it is, without trying to force it to conform to our desires, we find a new freedom and serenity. As we continue exploring the burdens we carry, we'll see how this practice can transform our perspective and lead us to a life of greater contentment and resilience. Topic 12. Changing your perspective on small disappointments. The small disappointments of daily life can easily turn into unnecessary burdens if we don't know how to deal with them. Stoicism teaches us to adopt a lighter and more resilient perspective when facing these minor setbacks. The modern Stoic understands that life is full of unpredictability and that not everything will go as planned. But they also know that it's not the event itself that causes suffering, it's how we react to it. By changing your perspective on small disappointments, you free yourself from the emotional weight they can bring, cultivating a more serene and balanced life. Often we allow small disappointments to become major problems in our minds. Whether it's a traffic delay, a misunderstanding with a colleague, or even a last-minute cancelled plan, these small annoyances have the potential to ruin our day if we don't know how to face them. Stoic philosophy encourages us to practice indifference to these minor setbacks, understanding that they are a part of life and that their importance is actually minimal. A practical exercise would be to pause for a moment and ask yourself, does this really matter that much? Almost always, the answer will be no. Additionally, by facing small disappointments with a more stoic outlook, we learn to develop emotional resilience. The modern Stoic knows that each small obstacle is an opportunity to practice patience and self-control. Instead of being shaken by a setback, they see it as a chance to strengthen their mind and spirit. A practical example would be in the workplace. When receiving unexpected criticism, instead of reacting defensively, the Stoic reflects calmly on the critique, seeking to learn from the situation rather than letting it bring them down. Stoic philosophy also teaches us to find humor in small disappointments. Often, what seems like a big problem in the moment can later be seen as a simple anecdote. The modern Stoic learns to laugh at life's ironies, viewing situations with a lightness that avoids unnecessary drama. For example, when missing a bus and realizing that you'll have to wait for the next one, instead of getting upset, they might laugh at the situation, accepting it as one of life's inevitabilities. This attitude not only relieves stress, but also makes daily life more enjoyable. Another important point is that small disappointments often reveal our hidden expectations. When we're frustrated by something small, it usually indicates that we expected the world to follow a specific script that wasn't realistic. The Stoic, by changing their perspective on these disappointments, also begins to adjust their expectations, making them more aligned with reality. By doing so, they better prepare themselves to handle the unexpected, accepting that our control over life is limited and that flexibility is an essential virtue. By changing their perspective, the Stoic also learns to value the small victories that occur each day. When we stop giving so much importance to disappointments, we begin to notice more of the good things that happen. A day when everything went smoothly, even without major events, is already a victory worth recognizing. The Stoic celebrates these moments, knowing that life is full of ups and downs and that learning to appreciate the small joys is a path to a more satisfying and balanced existence. Finally, by changing your perspective on small disappointments, you prepare yourself to face greater challenges with more serenity. If we can handle small annoyances well, we are better equipped to face the major adversities in life with courage and balance. This daily practice of resilience is what makes us strong in times of true difficulty, a central principle of Stoic philosophy. And so, as we conclude this journey of exploring the burdens we carry, we realize that the key to a lighter and fuller life often lies in how we choose to see and react to what happens to us. Now, the decision is in your hands. Will you continue carrying these burdens, or will you take the first step toward a fuller and more authentic life? The choice is yours, and so is the power to change. And if you want to continue this journey of growth and personal development, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This way you won't miss any new content that can help you become a better person every day. Let's walk together on this path of self-discovery and overcoming.